Oh god, this video is gonna be a nightmare to make. Just one wrong step and my channel could get Thanos snapped out of existence. I'm walking a thin line here, and y'all know the years of drinking has messed up my balance, so it might be wraps for me. And the reason is because today I want to talk about a nice little spooky horror-esque manga since it's the spooky season. The thing is, I don't even know if YouTube will let me say the title, and it'll be hard to talk about the subject matter throughout the video, but I'm gonna fill it with a bunch of euphemisms, and I'm gonna trust that you, the audience, will get what I'm talking about. The manga in question that I'm talking about is Unalive Girl. Except unalive is a different word, and because you see how this is going to be difficult. So I've been reading this manga recently, and I wanted to talk about it for a couple of reasons. One, I think the art style is incredible. Two, the plot is interesting and will be a good discussion topic for a video because of the sensitive matter it addresses. And three, I just think it's really good. You should read it. But let me give y'all a quick premise first so that we're all on the same page. Also, I'm sure you have an idea of what I'm going to be talking about here, but just quick trigger warning, if you're uncomfortable by these topics, feel free to sit this video out. But besides that, let's get to it. The manga follows Kirari Aokigahara, who doesn't want to be alive anymore. Except she's like really happy about it, which already makes her a very relatable protagonist. To accomplish this, she goes to a not alive anymore cafe to do the deed, only to discover that she has the innate ability to become a self-checkout girl. This means that she can no longer die on her own and instead possesses powers that will help her combat phobias, which are creatures that can cause humans to take a long walk off a short cliff. She then gets a dope magical girl transformation using her trademark wholesome and cutesy weapon, a noose. With these powers and a newfound appreciation for life, Kirari sets off to rid the world of phobias to hopefully put an end to harakiri, if you will. She's assisted by a bunch of other similarly powered magical girls, as well as the manager of the Unalive cafe they all work at. Shenanigans ensue. So that's the gist of things. If you're interested, go check it out for yourself and give it a read, because now we'll be getting into much more heavy spoiler territory, so don't say I didn't warn you. So here we have a magical girl battle manga about cute girls fighting nightmare fuel monsters. Nothing new or groundbreaking as far as manga goes, right? Even the topic of unaliving yourself being at the center of the series isn't something we haven't seen before either. To me, the main draw of this manga is the execution and just the way that they present these themes, which, if you saw the title of this video, may or may not have rubbed me the wrong way. Let me get a little bit more into the plot before I explain what I mean. It turns out that the reason Kirari wanted to log off was because of the death of her childhood friend slash maybe boyfriend, who also decided to self-terminate. The big reveal in recent chapters is that there's a sort of 4 horsemen of ending it all, which are the top tier megalophobias pulling the strings behind the scenes. They're like the Akatsuki of anti-life, the Hashira of harming yourself, the Justice League of jumping off buildings. And it turns out that the biggest and baddest of them may be behind the death of Kirari's buddy. You see, in the world of the manga, these phobias are drawn to people in despair, and they sort of possess them to take that final step to do the deed. The implication here is that unaliving yourself is something that stems from these anime monsters and not from anything you do as a person or anything that happens to you. The cafe manager himself even says that no one really ends it all on their own account. It's all caused by what is essentially the boogeyman. It's an interesting take on things, I'll say that. So it's a horror manga at its core, right? There are some truly terrifying panels and incredibly visceral panels as well that feel like a straight punch to the face. It seems fitting, right? A dark manga about a dark topic has dark, dread-inducing imagery. But it also plays like a black comedy because there's a lot of dark humor and some very Coen brother-esque scenarios. The protagonist, Kirari herself, is a big joke because her hyperactive, bouncing off the walls personality is juxtaposed with the dark subject matter. It's a bubbly, cute anime girl who's really, really excited about ending it all. That's pretty funny, right? Now, this would be all fine on its own, right? A satirical horror manga that makes a joke out of clocking yourself out, knowing that it's going over the top with its gruesomeness and humor. But the thing is, for this manga, it then starts to take things a bit seriously, and it gives like these deep worldview takes on the value of life, and it's like, It's like you're already making a joke out of the whole idea. Don't try to get philosophical now. Like when Kirari gathers her magical girl companions, Manten and Akane, each one has their own mini arc where they have to deal with some S-word related topic and have a phobia they have to fight. Kirari does the standard talk no jutsu shonen protagonist thing and gives them that good old burst of hope. Keep on living, you guys. There's lots of great things in this world, like your loved ones and your friends. Then of course they overcome their traumas and find the resolve to be magical girls, but then you cut to them doing their transformations, which involve things like hanging yourself and like slitting your wrists, and it's like, oh, what are they saying here? Are they being empowered by their an-hero tendencies? Is it them embracing their will to live? Is it just look how we turn this horrifying subject matter into a cool action manga sequence? And then there's the weird idea that offing yourself is like this magical occurrence devoid of any real world consequence or accountability. Like, okay, let me give another example. In the video game Persona 3, the characters unleash their powers by shooting themselves in the head with this gun called an evoker. It's supposed to be a metaphor for accepting and getting over the fear of death. The main character isn't afraid of dying, so they have no problems popping themselves, but other characters have more reservations. And I guess in this manga it's supposed to be a similar idea because they get over their personal traumas by turning those traumas into magical girl transformations, I guess. And I get it, it's inspiring and kind of feel good, but then it throws in all the dark comedy and it's like, okay, were they trying to say something deep here or was it all for the sake of looking cool? If it's the latter, then I'm kind of looking at this manga crazy because that's not really the thing you want to glamorize unless, like I said earlier, you lean 100% into it and go full ridiculous, which this series almost does. Cause let me make this explicitly clear. I don't give a fuck. This isn't me being on some, what do they call it these days, snowflake shit. There's nothing wrong with including mature, taboo themes into a story like this. I'm working on some videos related to live action horror movies, and you should see some of the depraved things that go on over there that make the stuff in this manga look borderline family friendly. The issue here isn't, oh, problematic subject matter is problematic. The issue is deciding to take on sensitive subject matter and mishandling it in an unskilled and tone-deaf way. You can make light of whatever topics you want, you just gotta know what you're doing, that's all. I don't know, that's why I titled the video the way I did, because as much as I think that this manga is dope, the whole situation gives me very mixed feelings, and I'm not smart or analytical enough to figure out if I'm tripping or not. I kind of feel like the people on Twitter trying to debate whether a celebrity tweet was problematic or not. Like, yeah, they did say this slur, but was it satirical? I'll need someone to make a meme to tell me how to feel about it. But real talk, regardless of if it's offensive or not, it's just a manga at the end of the day, and I think if you take the route that it's just a tongue-in-cheek black comedy, it becomes a fucking blast to read it. So let's do that. Let's talk about all the other great stuff that this manga has to offer before we end the video. I mentioned it briefly before, but the art in this manga is deceptively beautiful. And what I mean by that is that it looks messy and all over the place at first, but then you see the gorgeous spreads and realize, oh, this is like a vibe. This is the intended aesthetic. This isn't a bug. The messy line work and creepy Tim Burton-esque characters are a feature. The character designs of each of the unalive girls are clever, eye-catching, and thematically appropriate. But listen, I know the only thing that anime and manga fans care about is, does the punching look good? I want my lit fight scenes, fam. The answer is yes. Like I said before, the action sequences in this manga are incredible. Characters and themes aside, that's arguably the draw of the series. It takes another page from Madoka Magica's book by subjecting cute Disney princess-looking girls to Game of Thrones level violence. The action is visceral and gruesome, and the art flows and feels alive and kinetic. I mean, just looking at some of these action panels, you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. That's why I love the cute to fucked up juxtaposition so much, because it creates such a shock once the action starts to kick in. It's almost like a fucking jump scare with how things can suddenly go from 0 to 100 action-wise. It's great, you know, it's great. I hope I didn't give too much away, because I highly recommend going to check out this series for yourself. Again, I'm pretty sure I made it clear what the subject matter was about, and like I said, they don't pull any punches or sugarcoat any of it, so be aware if that kind of stuff is not for you. Even still, I feel like you can just turn your brain off and ignore all the subtext if you just want to see a badass action manga with sick fight scenes and character designs. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. I hope y'all enjoyed. This is supposed to be my spooky video for this year. I tried to make it an actual horror themed series this time, since last year I just talked about Mob Psycho, which is you know, it's a stretch to call that horror, I'm not gonna lie. But I got some other spooky related stuff too. Like I mentioned, I got some Asian horror movies I want to talk about because, you know, horror is my favorite genre of film. And I also have another manga video about a Jump series involving a spunky, badass female protagonist with a complicated relationship with her father. What could it be, perhaps? Yep, it's Akane Banashi, aka the new queen of Shonen Jump, so expect that video at some point in the future. Also, like and subscribe and hit the notification button so you know when all this bullshit comes out. And don't forget to leave a comment telling me about what you think of suicide. Oh man, I think I can get away with saying it once, right?